Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2012. With me tonight we have...
Playing Silas Shaw of Clan Bruya.
Bex playing Velvet of Clan Ventru.
Lane playing Joanne Saltz, Clan Torridor.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan La Sombra.
So apologies for those of you who were joining us last week live, where we had some technical excitements. The bane of the La Sombra struck us bad. Hopefully this week, such banes and such clans have been put back in order and things will be fine. But if you are watching us live, do let us know if there are any technical issues on your end, and we will look into that. So 2 weeks ago, when we had episode 6, we had an issue where Joanne had collected a stain against her soul for going against one of her convictions and upsetting one of her touchstones. We have rolled the resolve check for it, and depending on whether you like to see Joanne's humanity devolve or not, it's good or bad news in that she passed her remorse check and is maintaining her middle-of-the-road humanity for a little bit longer. So we are kind of at the end of Friday, the 3rd of August, 2012. And although most of our coterie, after having various heart-to-hearts and socials and other events, are about to head off to have some day sleep, Velvet is still rather hungry from all of the various exertions and excitements, and so is going to attempt to get something to eat.
Yep.
So, Velvet, if I can check in with you first, where are you planning to hunt?
It's somewhere in the south of Oxfordshire, something like a club, but a decent quality one, or a rubbish one, obviously.
Yes.
But yes, I'll go there and find. I'm not picky. The first person I come to who is female, I will collect her up and go and eat.
Okay,
yeah.
And when you say collect her up, what means are you using to collect a random female?
Obviously, my natural charm, and charisma, but also presence. Probably presence level 1, I think. Probably that's enough.
Okay. In that case, I will suggest that it is fairly straightforward for Velvet to go to a nice club. And with his ridiculous levels of presence and charm, I'm not going to force you to roll to collect this person and take them. Where are you attempting to take them to feed?
Wherever is nearby and not visible to people, like, an alleyway somewhere or something. Just because I need to do this quickly. Yeah.
All right.
That's my style.
So you will, or Velvet will find someone who any inhibitions they might normally have melt away at his charm and smile. And it sort of turns this from I'm being taken by this man off somewhere without really thinking it through, into a kind of exciting adventure. This is like, the man of her dreams has suddenly appeared and is like straight off a movie set and is incredible. And any normal thought process is just blown out of her mind by your ridiculous levels of presence. And it is trivial for Velvet to take her into this alley.
Yep.
And it is trivial also for Velvet to get close enough to her, under the pretense, obviously, of supposedly him finding her attractive.
Yes, supposedly,
to enable him to feed. So the issue comes where Velvet is pressed against this woman in an alley. See, Velvet can't remember who she is or much about her.
No.
But what he can definitely detect is that she is full of warm blood. And as Velvet's teeth are kind of brushing against her neck and shoulder, and the fangs are starting to extend, there is a sort of odd reaction that he has, because on the one hand, he's extremely hungry and he wants to feed and he wants blood. But there is some part of him that kind of convulses, that does not want to drink this particular blood. You're not feeling drawn to it in the way you are, say, when you feed from Jessica or Matthew or one of the others. So my question is Velvet going to force himself to feed?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is this, with a great effort of will, and essentially what this involves is spending willpower equal to your bane severity.
Okay.
You force your fangs into her flesh. She will gasp, of course, but that gasp of surprise quickly softens and becomes one of someone who is enraptured by the kiss. The blood tastes wrong in your mouth. I suppose it's probably a little bit like when someone gives you one of those really, I'm probably going to get loads of spam in chat for this, but when you get like a really healthy milkshake or something, which doesn't taste like an actual milkshake at all and doesn't taste quite right, but when you read the label, assures you it's full of like good vitamins and is nourishing. So whilst on some level the blood will be easing Velvet's hunger, there is none of that normal pleasure that comes with it. You don't have that sense of euphoria yourself when you're, because you are used to blood of a certain breeding or vampiric blood. And this cuts neither of those things. The other issue Velvet has, though, is that he's really hungry. And as soon as he tastes the blood, as much as it doesn't appetize him, once he has broken through that resistance and is starting to ingest it, there is an urge to draw it down with great force and violence, which I assume that Velvet is going to try and resist. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So I would like you to make a hunger frenzy check.
Okay.
So this is going to be a willpower roll based on your current willpower, plus 2 dice for your humanity.
Okay.
The tension mounts.
2 I've got.
2 successes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I know the result of this, but I'm just going to double check in this lovely storyteller screen, which was a birthday present, which I got from the wonderful Carlos. All right. So looking at this, what happens is as follows. Velvet begins to drink. Velvet has this urge to feed more voraciously. Funny enough, it reminds him of when he was fighting Wallace and he became hungry. And there was something in that was very powerful when you took control over your sire and brought him low by feeding upon him. So perhaps it's this that is the reason why Velvet is not able to resist sating his beast in this moment. So Velvet feeds. And it doesn't take very long, because the good thing about when you're feeding in this manner is that you're not carefully sipping and trying to preserve the person. You are drawing that blood forcefully from them. Despite this, however, she does not call out in pain, though her gasp will change slightly in note. But the power of the kiss still overwhelms anything like that. And you feed voraciously and swiftly. There is a moment where Velvet will kind of realize, you'll start to come to your senses that you have been feeding not the way you usually do and been feeding with abandon, and that she is limp in your arms. Is he going to stop feeding at that moment? He is not fully sated.
Well, if he can, in terms of he has the wherewithal to do this, and yes, he will.
So with great effort, Velvet pulls his fangs from her. As I say, she is limp in your arms.
So the
taste of blood on your mouth is actually quite dissatisfying, but your belly feels fairly full. You are at hunger 1, not hunger 0.
Okay. So, can I tell if she is alive or dead?
takes a few moments to ascertain, but you will ultimately, because I mean, Velvet is no physician.
Yes, correct.
But he is someone who's been a vampire for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you will eventually locate a fluttering pulse. She is deathly pale, but she is not yet dead.
Okay. So I will get her to my car, and then I will phone Joanne on the way to the Haven. Hey, Joanne, another one of us has nearly killed someone. Come and help.
All right. So you are able to drag her. Now,
I'm not dragging her. I'll carry her. I don't want to look like,
Okay.
This should look romantic. It shouldn't look like she's nearly dead.
Is Velvet going to rouse to do this? Because unless I've mistaken anything, he's still a wimp.
Yes, he is.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Correct.
So if you make a quick rouse check for me, but regardless of what that result is, you will get her back to the car, and you are able to pass it off. You are excellent at pretending like she's drunk. You're really convincing.
Excellent.
Nobody questions it. You are nearish a club. This is not that uncommon.
Yep.
You get her to your car. You start driving back to the Haven. So if you can resolve that rouse check for me.
Sorry, I have. Yes. Sorry, I succeeded.
So you do not get any hungrier from this. You drive your way back to the Haven. Joanne, your phone will ring.
I'll pick it up.
Okay. You will recognise Velvet's number when it goes.
Joanne, are you still at the Haven?
Yes.
I'm really sorry to do this to you, but I need your help. I have someone with me, and it's a person. It's not someone like us, but she's dying, I think. And I need you to help her if you can.
Okay, bring her in.
I'll say I'm on my way, and I will get there as quickly as I can.
Of course. Well, luckily for you, nothing stops you in this, and you will find your way back to the Haven. And to cut a long story short, you will get this nameless woman into the surgery. So, Joanne, it does not take a genius to realise that she has suffered extreme blood loss and is in critical condition. And will require immediate action to save her life. I'm going to assume you're going to take that action.
Yes.
All right, so I would like you to make a medicine roll. You will get the bonus for the surgery.
I will just hang around anxiously and be no use at all in the background.
Excellent.
I mean, if you give me a job, I'll try and do it, but you probably shouldn't do that.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Medicine and intelligence, I assume?
Yes. No, let's say wits and medicine, because this is about speed. It's about you doing what you need to do in time before she passes away. Don't forget to add your surgery dice.
Yes. I'm going to
You're
re-roll.
home,
Let's spend some willpower.
Awesome.
Because, you know.
Saving lives and stuff.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. 10 successes, critical win.
Okay.
I love you, Joanne. I've always loved
That
you.
was worth that willpower. That
I mean,
you got the second 10 and the reroll. That is lovely. That is what you want out of a willpower roll.
so there is a kind of a strange thing actually for Joanne, which is that it's been a little while since you've been in a situation quite like this. A lot of her nights have been occupied with strange goings on, patrolling of the street, hiding in the darkness, doing things that are not necessarily very savoury, or hanging out in really awkward courts with other vampires. Whereas all of a sudden, there is the very kind of simple thing of someone's life hangs in the balance and you have the tools to save that life. And therefore, you will save that life. And it kind of comes back to Joanne in a flash. It's like, on some level, this is what she does. She has never, that side of her kind of comes to the fore very powerfully. And you act with impeccable timing and skill and proficiency. And yeah, she's stable. She'll be fine. Obviously, you're going to need to keep an eye on her, and it's going to take time for her to recover. But you are under no doubt that she will survive. You managed to work out the correct blood type. You've managed to, hook her up effectively. You happen to have that blood in stock. Everything is good. You are going to be absolutely fine. Does any immediate interactions that come off the back of that, Velvet or Joanne?
So Velvet will speak to Joanne, but only if it's clear that she is not immediately needing to give her attention to this. Because obviously he can't make that judgment, so he'll just stay quiet until it's clear she's finished.
Obviously, this will be a very kind of tense time for Dar, because he doesn't really have any idea that this person is okay until such time as Joanne finally kind of steps away. But she is obviously being very thorough. It's also the kind of thing where it's not like, I don't know, an active surgery or something where you can see something physical to really understand what's happening. Joanne is just sort of hooking her up to things and studying her very carefully and studying various readings and doing tests. So it's quite hard to know for a long time. However, as you are both starting to get the sense of the sun threatening to make an appearance, and your blood is starting to feel more sluggish in your bodies, Joanne will look as if she is satisfied on some level. Will have stepped back.
Okay. I'll say, God, thank you. Is she gonna be all right?
Yes. Miracle, really.
Oh God. I swear to God, I didn't mean for this to happen.
I know you didn't.
I was just, I lost track of the time, and then all of a sudden. She's gonna be okay. Do I need to take her somewhere or do something?
I'm sure you know at this point there is going to be cover-up that needs to be done, but she's going to live.
I'll sort that out.
Probably need a few more days here just to recuperate, so I can make sure nothing else goes horribly wrong immediately, but she'll be fine.
I don't know who she is or where she came from, so I don't know who's gonna miss her. I'll see what I can find out. We can't take her to another hospital. She has to stay here.
Not immediately. I've got her hooked up, and if you take that off, she'll just bleed out again.
Shit. All right. Well, I was gonna go home, but I guess it's a little bit late to do that now. Thank you, Joanne. I don't know what else to say. I didn't mean to put you in this situation.
In a way, as fucked up as it sounds, it's somewhat welcome. It's a reminder of who I used to be, I guess.
Well,
and I can't let go of that.
It's not who you used to be, it's who you are. I mean, you just did this right here and right now. That is not a past tense thing. That is something you did here tonight. And this woman will be dead if I didn't know you and if I couldn't bring her here. So that is fundamentally who you are, right? And it's all who you've always been. There hasn't ever been a time when one of us has come to you with some shit like this and you haven't helped us and you haven't fixed it. I can't do that. I can't do those things. So don't think she's gone, because she's not. I can see her right here, right now.
Stop beating yourself up. Get some rest.
Joanne, I nearly killed someone tonight, and I didn't even. It wasn't even a decent fucking meal. It wasn't anything. I could have done differently, but I didn't, because I was in a rush, and And now here she is. And she would be dead if it weren't for you. And I can't even say to you that I'm satisfied. Now, I don't know what sort of a person that makes me, and I, honest to God, don't even know if I want to think about it. But I know it makes you a better person than me. Tomorrow I'll try to find out who she is. She told me her name. I can't remember it.
It's honestly, just get some rest. I know you're just going to do it, but don't beat yourself up and just, you said it yourself, we need to keep going.
Yeah, we do. You remind me of my own advice.
Pat him on the shoulder and go to bed.
I will take a last look at this girl, and then I'll go. I think Adam and I are supposed to be driving back to the flat. But if we run out of time, I guess we'll stay here.
It would be tight.
Yes, okay, then we'll do that.
Okay, so you will fall into day sleep, which is the nicest way of saying you become corpses again. And the day will pass you all by. And you all wake on Saturday the 4th of August. So if I can have jolly old rouse checks from you. The other thing to say is, or to ask you, yes, Silas?
Yeah, I was about to say Silas will, of course, try to do a little bit of healing because he's still pretty fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if this is the time, if you want to heal any serious damage, please do so. And then if you can let us know when you've done any of those things, what your current hunger levels are. And the other question that I have for you players is if there are any things you immediately wish to do. I can have some guesses about Velvet, but I'm also
well, happy day. I'm hungry again after that failed brace check. So
you're only hunger 2. You're okay.
yeah, I'm only on hunger 2. So I'm gonna go and eat with my wife.
Okay. Theodore would like to see Miyuki and potentially Sir William. But definitely Miyuki is the focus here. He's going to Sir William because that's
was I going with you to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, am I right in thinking that
Yes.
you were taking Velvet with you for this?
Yes.
See me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to be imminently, so yeah.
Well,
Sure.
I was thinking of going to the company early in the night, take advantage of my herd, and feed, and then go to Miyuki. So if Velvet wants to do a hunt previously, because we're not going until later in
he doesn't. He's just going to go at some point. Because he's only on hunger 2.
But it is easy if you're both going to effectively to your herds, whether that is a herd of business or your ex. You can easily go and feed without rolling or worry.
Excellent.
Suffice to say, for both of you, this is kind of like there is a comfort in the routine that takes some of the edge of the horror off. You know, even though there might be something in you that feels a bit strange about it, you've done it so many times, you're so good at it, there's so little risk, particularly when you're not ridiculously hungry. You just you can almost do it on autopilot. So you'll both easily be able to feed, and I assume, Velvet, you're just slaking one level of hunger.
Correct.
You're just taking a sip from your wife, nothing too intrusive.
Yes, but I'm relishing the fact that it doesn't taste like shit.
Yeah, no, it's the other thing. When you go to Jessica, and you know her patterns now, you know when she's likely to be asleep and all these kind of things. So to the point that whenever she isn't, you know that there's a problem.
Okay.
And this night there is not a problem. You go there, it's exactly as you intend it to be, and you feed. But it tastes good. It feels good. It feels like it should feel. And the difference to the previous night is very striking indeed. Theodore, you go to your business, and obviously you've just got
unshaved.
Unshaved.
So, yeah, because that makes me
hide your age, I know. And it's you've got some of your people you've been encouraging to work late. It's very easy for you to go and have a quick meeting with them.
Also, the business grew, so
yeah. So you've got a bit of a
Happy
broader base. It's easy. Again, how much are you feeding upon your workers?
I think the one for now. And
So again,
just to take me to hunger 2, because
so
I don't
you have
want to abuse that.
You have a little sip. You maybe send them home a little bit early.
Yeah.
All's well, and you're fine. And you're both set to go and visit Sir William and Miyuki later in the evening. Just one clarification from my point of view. I know you're both seeing Miyuki. Are you also both seeing Sir William, or is it just Theodore that's trying to see Sir William?
I think it's Theodore wants to talk to Sir William, but he asked Velvet for help.
Yeah.
In this sort of political arena.
So let's assume both of you.
So
Yes.
I think I'm not seeing Miyuki unless Theodore asks me to, because that's a private thing between the two of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's we're gonna see Sir William and Velvet is coming with me, and then I will have a short Yeah.
Joanne, are there any things you're planning to do on the evening of Saturday, the 4th of August? Sorry, 4th of August. You're muted, by the way.
Keep an eye on my new patient.
Yes, indeed.
PC.
Suffice to say, your patient will be absolutely fine because you've got 10 successes, critical win. You think if you wanted to leave her somewhere, like on the steps of another hospital or in an alley or whatever, and you could set it up so you could do that if you want to. You have stabilized her to the point. You have such a strong sense of how healthy she is and all that stuff. You feel confident that you could do that if you want to.
I'll tell Velvet that when he gets back.
Cool.
Not my problem, you say? Excellent. Yeah.
Silas, is there anything you're intending to do this evening?
For that, he also has got the hunger 3, so he is definitely intending on a hunt. His usual way. Then he's also send a few see if he can send a few messages maybe later on in the evening to Jenny for hopefully start arranging a meeting at some point with them between Oxford and London, not in either.
Okay.
And then maybe seeing if Mr. Whispers is available for a meeting.
Okay. Are you trying to contact Mr. Whispers? Are you intending to contact Mr. Whispers kind of immediately or later in the evening?
Later in the evening, so priority is the hunt.
Note, you're getting one text an hour from Velvet asking if you've done this yet.
Again, feel free to add your 7 messages.
Yes, so it says, worth noting, Silas, you will be getting repeated messages from Velvet asking if you have spoken to Mr. Whispers yet. Let's very quickly resolve your hunt, and then I think I'll do Velvet and Theo, and then I'll come back to Joanne. So, Silas, you're intending, I assume, to go to a club?
Yep.
It's early in the evening, so people, of course, are not as drunk or as kind of easily whatever as they might be. So are you just going to strong-arm this by being supernaturally awesome, or are you going to take your time and kind of slowly charm someone into a feed? What's his move here?
Silas will take his time, but if things are going sideways, he'll strong-arm. Basically.
So you're present if you need to?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And are you just feeding a little bit? Are you just taking a sip, as it were?
Basically, it's intention is to kind of over time, like a sip from 2. So 2.
Okay. So if he's willing to devote a lot of this evening to this, I'll say you can do that without making a roll. Okay. If you're just taking 2 sips, that's fine. You're in your own domain. There's no emergencies going on. There's no alerts. It's fine. You can do that.
Sure.
It'll just take you a bit longer. All right. So, Velvet and Theodore, you go to Sir William's place of business.
I do message. I do message in advance.
Yeah, you've arranged to. Yes, he knows you're coming, and your visit has been approved, if you like. So it is quite an old building, but one of those buildings which is old in a good way. Old in a sense that it is established and respectable and all of that stuff. And also, of course, expensive. You will be shown to Sir William's office, the two of you, and it is quite a cozy place full of books, the smell of old wood. And Sir William himself, of course, is always very smartly attired. You will see his cane resting against the side of his desk. The only thing really at odds with this room is Sir William himself, in that he is not cozy and nice to look at. He is a horrific mummified corpse. And one of the things that is odd is that he's always been very reasonable and polite and good company and well-mannered. But yet, whenever you first go in and you see him, you are forcibly reminded that he is a hideous wreck of a corpse. And there is some part of you that does not want to be anywhere near him. I mean, he is monstrous. And not just on the level of, he's ugly, but on the level of your soul. There is something in your soul that is repulsed by Sir William. Not that you think he's evil, not that you hate him, just that it's horrible. Nevertheless, he seems very happy to see you and will invite you both to have a seat.
I'll take my seat slowly.
Yeah, I'll just proceed normally. Sir William, thanks for receiving us.
Good evening to you both. I trust this evening finds you well and in good spirits.
Better
Yes, sir.
spirits than before, sir, yes. I believe you have heard the news of our little foray in Reading.
He nods. I have indeed, yes.
Rest assured
Yes.
that Mago Takahisa will not betray the hospitality of any kindred anymore, or anyone for that matter.
He says, well, that is indeed a relief.
There are a few matters that I would like to discuss with you, Sir William. I think the most important one is the future of Oxfordshire. I am very strongly of the opinion that Helena of Reading, she partook on Amago's perfidy. It's not that Amago Takahisa betrayed our hospitality and then decided to help her. It is clear that they were on it together since the beginning. And since her choosing of her champion was tainted by this disrespect, I believe that invalidates the nature and good faith of the duel. So I will ignore the results of any duel, for a duel that is not done in good faith and honor is no duel at all. This is something that has come to light, of course, after the duel took place.
He says, do you know, Theodore, what is interesting about history? Is it all depends upon where you decide to start your history. Who has done wrong to who and how these things work. It is true that the manner in which Prince Helena conducted herself is one which invites criticism. One could argue that my sire could have chosen to dismiss the duel at that point for just the reasons that you have outlined. However, he did not.
He could not lose face. Helena and Takahisa took advantage of the position our prince
Indeed.
found himself in.
Indeed.
He cannot be the Prince of Oxfordshire and back down
well.
from a duel of the sort of usurper.
Allow me, Theodore, to make my point.
Apologies.
You have made yours very clearly. You have said, yes, that due to these reasons, you would not consider her to be prince. The difficulty is that you are young, and whilst I value your opinion as a citizen of Oxfordshire, it's not simply about what you decide. Indeed, one must ask the question why a kindred of Imago Takahisa's age and nature would travel all of this way and conduct such behavior. I do not believe for a moment that he did so on a whim, nor do I believe that he did so out of love for Helena or hatred for my sire. You must understand there are other things at play here, which is why this calls for careful handling.
Absolutely, sire, but it's clear that Takahisa had ulterior motives. Whatever was promised to him or whatever he hoped to gain is now in the wind and gone. He's no longer around.
Yes, well, what I am proposing to you, Theodore, is that this was not masterminded by Takahisa.
Absolutely.
And therefore, he pauses and looks over at Velvet.
Do you mean to say, sir, that you think he did this under duress?
It is hard to imagine someone placing Takahisa under duress. Nevertheless,
I mean political, sir. I don't mean physical.
Yes. Well, I was referring to that also, but yes, I would say yes, that I believe that is exactly the case, that there were political pressures placed upon him to act in such fashion. It seems unusual for him to have taken the steps that he had and behaved in the manner that he had, unless he had been placed in that situation. Oh, I do not know him anywhere near as well as you do, Theodore. He pauses and then says, you must both understand that whilst we keep certain standards within the domain, not everyone views Oxfordshire with the same regard and love that we do. And whilst we hold the oath sacred here, there are many who hold the traditions higher. And there are concerns beyond Oxfordshire about how much respect we are giving to those traditions.
But I believe everything we have done is according to the traditions. Hospitality is the one I used as the reason behind punishing Takahisa. Accounting is absurd.
He holds up a hand and he says, I'm not speaking of your actions, Theodore. This is not about you, Theodore, your actions. It does not matter. What matters is the perception of Oxfordshire, the perception of actions taken by elders here against other elders of other domains, those who are politically connected within the Camarilla, those who wished to see, for their own reasons, I believe, Helena placed in power here. Now,
what are your thoughts on the matter, sire? What do you think?
I think many paths open to us. But I think it would be preferable for Helena to fail rather than us to destroy her.
Fail in being the prince?
Yes.
Well, sir, it strikes me that even under the Camarilla, prince is a prince as long as they hold power and they keep order and stability. So if she is not able to do those things, then she is not able to hold that power and that title.
Yes. And, should we so wish it, we could meet her at the border of the domain with violence and slay her. But if we are to do so, we will add to the lines of kindred who will be seeking revenge, and to the fires within the Camarilla that burn higher up. But whilst she has won a duel by one means or another, and supposedly has claim to being a prince, there is something that all who wish to be Prince of Oxfordshire must do. And that is, they must be accepted as a citizen of Oxfordshire. And to do that, they must pass certain scrutinies and certain tests. Now, it seems to me that Helena can hardly complain if she is expected to do what every other elder, ancilla and neonate, has done to enter the city. That is to gain a coin, to appease a gatekeeper, to perform tasks to prove that she is worthy of entrance to the city, and ultimately have citizens of Oxfordshire speak on her behalf. Now, it seems to me that if she were to fail in such things, well, that would prove quite clearly that she was not fit to rule. And yes, I'm sure in time, those in the Camarilla who are not happy with this situation would send someone else. It will make it harder for them. If we simply kill her, then those of her line will add their voices.
Sir,
Someone will come swiftly.
Sir, is there not a matter of precedent here? Legal precedent or otherwise? In order for us to do as you're suggesting, we need to know what was the longest period of time that anyone took to carry out Prince Drogo's task. Because we were not held to a particular time frame, and some of us took longer than others. And so on that basis, at what point can we legitimately argue by course of law that she failed?
He favours you with a rotting smile and says, well,
I'm horrified.
If she does not complete the task, then she is not prince. The longer that goes on, the weaker she will appear. And in the second, we will know she has failed the task when she is dead.
Good. Well, just
this,
checking.
This opens the possibility of her succeeding at her tasks, and then those who wish to remain in Oxfordshire swearing fealty and loyalty to her. If she manages to become a prince of Oxfordshire, for I have no doubt in my mind that she and those who support her will use any tricks at their disposal. They will not play fairly. They will cheat their way. And if that, the trust I do not have on Prince Helena comes from the fact that she has proven herself to be untrustworthy.
But that will play into our hands,
Theodore.
That will play into our hands if she does not abide by the rules of the city, if she attempts to cheat. If she believes she can carry this out, now we are wise to her tricks, under the nose of watchful knights and the good citizens of Oxfordshire, well, then she will invalidate her effort.
Theo, it is a higher risk play, but it is strategically a better decision to have her come in here. Because what we stand to gain is better. We stand to close this off for good, as Sir William is saying. And over and above that, it ought not to be difficult to do some scenario planning for the kinds of things that she might do in order to succeed at these tasks. I mean, ultimately, if she needs one person, right, who is a knight, or two people. So that means we can expect that she will walk in here and offer two people who have nothing, all the world, to vote for her, or to say that she did whatever it is that she's being asked. So that seems to me to be the play, right?
Sir William will say, you show great faith in her, Velvet, to consider she will pass her initial test such that she would be able to ask for such support. I do think, however, that it will be important that she is observed during the time of her test. We will be looking for suitable volunteers for this task. Because obviously if she were to be found cheating, it would be the decision of the knights to have her punished accordingly. Do you know anyone in the city who might have the time and the inclination to ensure that Prince Helena abides by our rules?
I sit back and wait for Theo to volunteer us.
I'd love to volunteer for such a task, my lord, but my hatred for Helena runs deep and it's known. I could not be an impartial observer of hers.
What about me? I didn't go with you.
Afraid.
Theo, I didn't go with you
Yes,
when you went to Reading.
if you wish so. I trust few others like I trust you, brother.
Well, I would need help from all of you. I'm just meaning as the face of whoever is the monitor or the observer, the auditor, if you will. She can't throw anything at me because I didn't go to Reading. I haven't done anything untoward since the prince was killed, and so I'm, I think,
Yes.
a reasonable option.
I believe you are. Sir William, is this you saying that for the sake of Oxfordshire and all that we stand for and our oath, that I should stand back in some call it crusade, I just call it my cleanse. I'm trying to clean the good name of Oxfordshire. If you ask me to stand back and allow for this course of action to take place, I will do so. I will not seek direct retribution from Helena, but I will definitely not make things easier for her. And I will make sure that every kindred in Oxfordshire is particularly stringent in the tasks, in evaluating every single test, and also making it clear that any promises that Helena might bring to them are as empty as a Mago Takahashi's head right now, after it was blown off of his body. There is nothing that Helena can offer anyone here in Oxfordshire that is worth the potential losses that comes with them.
He will nod when you've finished speaking and say, well, I have always prized you for your vigilance, Theodore, and it seems this is the time that we must all be vigilant. And I think it always is good for citizens of Oxfordshire at a time like this to communicate clearly with one another, so there is no confusion as to what is going on.
Well, sir, I think perhaps there is it's relevant to think about what the Bruges might be doing in response to this. Given to understand that they are not amenable to accepting her into the city either. I mean, much like the rest of us, but that is another proposition in terms of getting everybody on the same page, so to speak.
I believe the Brewery are already trying to see 3 steps ahead when they haven't even laid out the playing field nor the game board.
Rest assured.
Conversations about who the new prince have popped up. Who should the new prince be? And I have my idea of who I would throw my support with, but right now that's not my main concern. My main concern is to free Oxfordshire from the threat of Helena, Reading, and anyone that can be an outsider, an enemy. Then we can take care of our own.
As you say, there are many, and the Bruyere in particular, who have strong opinions about what should happen next. They have, of course, made some of those opinions known to me. But this is a time of reflection. It's not been long since Sir Drogo left us, and it would be an insult to his long years of service to the city to try and replace him without thought and proper care. I think even the Bruyere will appreciate that. If it makes you feel any better, they too are not pleased with the way the duel was conducted. So I do not think that they will make it easy for her either. But I do not think this situation will be made better by more brutality.
Agreed.
Let those who suffer be those who have knowingly broken our rules and our oath. Let it be clear. Let it be fair. That is the way to move forward now. I'm sure you will agree.
I do. I will use all of my time to make sure Oxfordshire is ready to test the mettle of Helena, for I know she will fail.
I am not often betting man, but I would also place my bet there. He looks at you, Velvet, to see if you have anything to add.
I will say, well, I am a betting man often, and these odds look pretty good to me. Over and above that, I wondered, sir, if there was an opportunity, Theodore, to talk about the matter of Sir Francis.
Oh, absolutely. It seems that Sir Francis has been taking a small crusade of her own against the Toreador. Am I right, Velvet?
That's right. That I'm given to understand that Sir Francis holds the view that the Toreador are responsible for Sir Drogo's death, and she is seeking retribution in that regard. Now, we have found a number of the Toreador and taken them somewhere we know is safe, but Alistair is missing. And it strikes me, sir, that one of Sir Drogo's last acts was to free Alistair. And so I don't know that he would want him destroyed. But I don't have any idea where to find Sir Francis. And I don't know if you might know somewhere. Or
The
might be able to
matter
help.
of Sir Francis has already been brought to my attention.
Right.
It is regrettable that she has taken the stance that she did, and I'm aware that we do not have many Toreador within this city, and several of them have already left.
Yes.
I have communicated my feelings to Sir Francis most clearly on this matter, and any act that she takes from this night on, or indeed the night that I spoke to her, would be seen as a breach of the oath. And so those you have been hiding need hide no longer.
Thank you, sir.
He then says, however, her love for the prince was palpable, and this is a difficult time for all of us. So I might suggest, if you were willing, that it be wise to keep them hidden away, unless they need to go out. I do not think she will hunt them down, but should they pass each other on the street,
I understand.
because it would be regrettable if we had to
Tensions run high.
punish. Indeed.
All right.
And
Well,
changing the topic, if I can. How is Miyuki? Has she been of service to you? Have
She
you found
is-
her assistance?
Yes,
useful?
she is working very hard on my behalf, and I'm pleased with the work that she is doing. Yes. I imagine you wish to speak with her.
If I could, for a moment, I wouldn't take.
I'm sure she can be spared her duties for a little time.
well,
Much
if
appreciated.
there's nothing else, sir, I will take my leave.
Very good. So, Velvet, you will obviously be
Yep.
free to go. And the air is so much sweeter out of that room
Yes.
as you left. So, Theodore,
Yeah, when
you will be,
when Velvet leaves and
yeah,
Sir William is making the arrangements for me to see Miyuki, I do mention that I trust my coterie mate Velvet thoroughly, and I think it's wise to say that should anything happen to me, I wanted him to be the witness of me saying that Miyuki should be given to his care.
Okay, yeah. So William will note that. So Sir William will, you will be taken to a different room, so Sir William can carry on with his work for the evening. But you will find yourself in a little conference room, and Miyuki will come to see you, and look very pleased to see you, and will come and greet you very courteously.
I
She'll say-
just hug her.
Okay. So when you hug her, she will allow this to happen, and will lift her feet up slightly and kind of hug you back.
And probably complain
then-
about my beard.
Yeah. She will say, "So hairy, Ken-san."
I went to the company earlier tonight.
She says, "So you are full."
I am happy.
Ah.
I am happy because
Well, then
I
you
am-
must share some of that happiness with me, Ken-san.
and I will. And I cup her face in my hands. I say,
Yeah.
it is over, Miyuki. Naoto, Takahisa, they are no more. It is over. We are free. We are free from
So
one another.
her eyes will well up with tears, and she'll kiss you, and then hold you much tighter this time. Will cling to you for a few moments, and she says in your ear, "Did you make it very painful for him, Ken-san?"
Yes. Also, I got a chance to say my farewells to Naoto-kun, to his face. It was fitting for all the pain they have caused us.
She says, I feel so light, Kensan. He's been like a chain around our necks for so long.
Yes. And now you're going to feel lighter. Isabel and Velvet and potentially Adam with Velvet's help. We have at least the minimum amount of people for me to make good on my promise from over 10 years ago. It's a little overdue, but I think it's time that we have a conversation that is like the ones we used to have. I owe you that much.
She looks at you and she says, you are wise to kill Naoto now.
Yes, because now no one can tell you that you cannot do it yourself. You fighting monkey. And I tap her nose.
She says, this is the best gift you could have given, but did you bring any others?
There are some
wildcat.
strawberries coming your way, but they're not here with you tonight. I couldn't bring them because I was meeting with Sir William first. It would have been odd to show up with strawberries. But I will make sure you get them.
She leans in closer and does her like, I'm being obviously very naughty kind of face, and says, and it would make the strawberries smell. Let's bring the strawberries straight to me.
I'll make sure strawberries go straight to you. The best ones and very fresh.
Are you staying long, Kensan?
Not tonight. I was told that you have many duties to attend to. And
She looks a bit sad. She says, I do, but I would rather spend time with you. I could give you a shave, and you will look more handsome.
I don't know if you have enough time to spare, but if you do, I'll take you on that offer.
She will look critically at your beard. So she will make a sort of playful attempt to get you to stay, but if it's clear you need to go, she won't force the issue.
No, if I'm going to stay, is for a maximum of 15 to 20 minutes, like a short shave or just a short chat. But
she'll just have a short chat with you.
Yeah, just a short chat.
And she seems very happy, actually. Like your chat, you don't really talk anymore about that, but it is evident in the way that she acts that she just seems much lighter and happier. And in her own way, gives you a bit more of a fuss than normal.
Yeah.
You know, and is a bit more complimentary. But then, you know, you'll talk about businessy things and boring things as well. Yeah. But there is a lightness to it and a kind of a fun to it. And she genuinely seems sad when it's time for you to go.
It's okay. I'll make the promise that I will try to visit her often, because I will be trying to talk to Sir William often. I'm going to be working for the guy. Or with the guy.
She accepts this.
Okay.
She will murmur something about, it would be nice if you came because you were coming to see me often.
I am coming to see you often, but I have to make Sir William happy with the fact of me coming every night or every other night or 3 times a week or however often he allows me to.
I am sure you will, Kensan, because you are very clever.
Not as clever as you. You're getting me to do this. I mean, I better go before you make me move.
She will beat you on the nose and says, do not forget it.
I won't.
And on that,
I'm sure you will keep on forgetting it and remember me.
So, meanwhile, in another part of town, Silas, you are contacting Mr. Whispers.
Yep.
So you've asked to meet. Are you just trying to arrange a meeting with Jenny later in the month? Is that right?
Yeah. So maybe in a week or so's time, just when her schedule's a point when her schedule's kind of more free during the night, where she's not going to be too knackered.
Sure.
And assuring her that I'm okay, everything's fine.
So the one thing that will come up is because Jenny performs, she often performs in the evenings.
Yeah.
So whilst you can potentially meet with her late, she will be going, hey, could we meet in the afternoon or could we meet, that kind of thing. However, you can potentially negotiate with her to meet earlier in the week when she's not performing, but it's trickier.
Yeah.
Her schedule in the evening is full, unless you're going to say, no, I need to meet you at 2, but that's going to sound really bizarre, you'll be aware.
Yeah. It's sort of just on the whole arrange things at early time of the week. Of course, making sure I have plenty of time there, back, no problems.
Okay. So ultimately, you will be able to arrange to meet her later in the month, so I'll put that in as a thing to happen. So you're calling Mr. Whispers, I understand.
More messaging Mr. Whispers, asking, basically, hope you're okay. If you're available at some point, would you be okay to meet up? Or
some point when ? Comes the reply.
When I have nothing on tonight, so maybe whenever tonight is convenient for you.
See you in an hour ?
Done.
Where?
Your place ?
There's a pause. And then you get a street address, and it says, pick me up here, bring the bike.
What bike?
Sorry.
Which he doesn't know.
I'll go. We'll see. I'll pick you up. We'll see what I can do about bike.
Okay.
And then so see Mr. Velvet. How quickly can you get me?
Okay, so Velvet, you will get, when you're leaving Sir William's, you will get a text saying, how quickly can you get me a bike? From Silas.
Okay, I mean, it's if I'll write back. I'll text back. Where do you need one delivered to?
Need available tonight, if possible.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll go and get him a bike. I'll hire one. I'll buy one.
Okay.
And I'll have it. I'll pay extra, whatever, to have it delivered to wherever he tells me to deliver it to. And I will say in my text back, does this mean that you asked her? And she said yes.
We are meeting in person, and she wanted the bike.
I'll text back and say, great
Bike
news.
incoming.
Great news. Knew you could do it. Additional information. No supernatural charm. Don't drink her blood. And that's the thing I'll send back.
All right.
I leave it on red.
So, Velvet throws money at your problem.
Yep.
And one of the few good yet also sad things about our capitalist society is you can solve most problems with enough money. And this is one of them. So you will have a bike. And now, Velvet.
Yep.
What kind of bike are you getting, Silas?
Almost certainly not the kind of bike that he wants. I don't know. I know nothing about bikes. I'll do a quick Google search for what is the hottest looking bike in the world, right, and then get that. Right.
Okay.
Which probably won't be available in the UK. I guess it's probably somewhere else.
I was going to say, I mean,
it's like
getting hold of a
that I can get in the UK, right? So
I was going to say, getting something very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It is a kind of like super bike.
It's not
really
a chopper.
Very, very difficult.
It's not a chopper. It's
not
a
chopper.
It's whatever I can get. Maybe a Ducati. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So, Silas, you will find yourself on a brand new bike, which is a weird experience for you because it is a nice bike. All right. It's not like a one of a kind super bike, but it is a good. Let's say it's a bike that looks cool. It's a bike that knows it's cool. It makes appropriate cool noises when you rev it. May not be the fastest bike in the world. It may not have the best handling in the world, but it looks the shit. And that, I think, is what Velvet will have gone for. Velvet will have gone for something with the best paint job.
Yeah.
And
it's red, obviously.
Wheels.
Yeah, it's
red. It's proper overcompensating bike. It's good.
Is it like a racing bike? Probably. Like.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's one of those that Sasha will send a message saying, "Holy shit! If that previous issue ever comes up, I'm in. No questions."
It's whatever kind of bike Velvet wants to have sex on. So it probably isn't the kind of. Yeah.
The Osiris wouldn't know that, would he? Would have no
No, I
fucking
mean,
clue.
from Silas's point of view, it's just a flashy bike, right? He may have thoughts about tuning the engine. He may have other thoughts around that, but it looks good. So you will turn up, and Mr. Whispers will be waiting for you. She'll be wearing, if you like, more practical gear, such that she can ride a bike comfortably. And when you rock up, engines revving, she will slip onto the bike behind you. She will have her own bike helmet. And she'll say, "Hello."
How you doing? Nice helmet.
Okay. Thanks.
Let's go, shall we?
Yeah. So there's a pause, and then she somewhat awkwardly will put her arms around your middle, and then hold on to you.
Miles in his helmet.
Okay. So where are you driving, Mr. Whispers?
Sars will have done a little look for some nice spot. You know, some of that. You know, like you have little nature spots that just look appeasing on the eye.
There are loads around Oxfordshire if you want to go to one. So it's easy for you to go there. I mean, you were taken to one by a horse 10 years ago. Anyway,
Not that one.
Not that one. All right. So you find a nice outdoor bit of a nice outdoor spot. You drive the bike there. You can park up. Obviously, because it's the night time now, it's very quiet. No one else is there, and you can go for a walk, kind of in the woods. You will note that she keeps her bike helmet on when you get off the bike, and you start walking. Are you attempting to strike up conversation? You will note she is not great at striking up conversation. She's just kind of trot alongside you.
Well, first, he'll start with the old business talk, asking a few questions about okay, what she found out in Reading for what was happening in Reading.
Right.
Ample windows.
Of course, you probably want to know about that. So she looks around and then says, "Do you know much about my clan?"
I know you're strong, you can hide well. Theo says you tend to be drawn towards tech in more recent nights, and you're.
Well, one of the things about us is we can't. It's harder for us to move around, around people like it is for you. So we tend to watch out for each other a bit more. At least that's how I see it. And it's not exactly like that here in Oxford, but it's like that in most places. It certainly used to be like that in Reading. My clan don't go to Reading anymore. Something happened there. We have places that we go, safe places, where people won't find us. And someone found those places, and they killed everyone there. There's no Nosferatu in Reading, Silas. And I don't know a lot of what's going on in there, but from people that have spoken to me about it when I've asked, they don't think Helena's coming here just because she wanted to take Oxfordshire. They think she's coming here because it's not safe to be in Reading anymore.
She's running.
Yeah. At least that's what they think. Not just her, I mean everyone in Reading. But you can't let people know that, because if you do, well then they'll do a nasty deal for you, right? You know, if she came and said, please, can you put me and my city up, then she'd be in boons forever. So.
Sorry, you cut off after a nasty deal for you, for me.
Oh, she says, well, if people knew that, then they would get all the boons they wanted out of her and out of every kindred in Reading. So, yeah. I don't know what they're running from, but I think it's bad. I think they're in hiding there. That's the word.
I mean, from what I understand, we were chased out of Reading by people with black vans.
There's some people out there that know about us. I don't know how much they know.
We're being hunted.
Well, we don't know. I mean, we don't know who did it, but either other kindred attacked my people or people did. But Silas, nobody got out to tell the tale. We don't know. But I hear things. It's dangerous to be a kindred around there. I mean, it's dangerous to be a kindred in lots of places. You heard about Vienna, didn't you?
I did. Theodore's mentioned a few things of it.
That wasn't us. That was like kindred. That was people. That they were brought down by people. In the place they were strongest. I mean,
it's all on the information, isn't it? Whoever's hunting us then found out. And they were able to use that. It's information. It's all the information.
I mean,
because I have the ability to strike. I can strike hard, but to know where and when to strike, that is the killer.
Well, we don't know anything about. I mean, I know that sometimes people find out about us and we do hunt them down, but we don't know who these ones are. But Oxfordshire seems safe for now. I don't think they're here.
Yet. This was
that's why I was so scared when I found out that you were in Reading, because things are happening there, and we think they might have like code words and search words and things when certain things come in on a call. And there was a call made when you were in Reading that the police got. It was full of weird. They got a tip off you were there. Somebody told them you were there. That's why they were all over you. She shrugs. We don't know who it was though. But we think somebody sold you out.
So.
But then, I mean, everybody knew. It wasn't exactly a secret.
No.
Everybody in the city knew you were going. Pretty much.
This is a matter that you're more well equipped than I am to find out things.
Yeah. Well, do my best, but it's difficult. It's dangerous too.
Well, if you ever
I
need
don't get noticed.
if you ever need to shift, I'm sure the rest of the Coterie wouldn't mind you crashing at ours.
Thanks. It's good to have places to run.
And you're welcome to pop by and visit anytime you like.
Anytime? Really?
That's another reason why I asked if you wanted to meet.
Okay. What's that?
'Cause, well, during the fight, I was tortured. Then, when I woke up, because that was the things that was rolling around in my mind, and then that was one of the first things was I was I was concerned for your safety. I was hoping that you were okay.
But I wasn't in Reading.
I know it's irrational that, but I just wanted to know that you were okay.
You're saying you were worried about me?
So if Cyrus could blush, he would be blushing like a fucking fire train.
Well, you can make yourself blush if you want to rouse the blood.
And I get a hunger too.
So you blush. I mean, obviously you're in the dark outside, so it's probably not as obvious as it might be. But nevertheless, you think she does seem to notice a change in you. And she will look a bit shy. She'll look down at the floor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not the sort of conversation that I'm very good at. I'm sorry.
That's funny. I thought you'd be very good at this sort of thing. I mean, you're Silas Shaw.
I mean, it's like when you're in front of the camera, they used to be. It's a performance. It's a charade. For real is. It's very different, and all that more powerful for it.
She will sort of twiddle her fingers like she's kind of twining them into each other, and she's looking at her hands. Makes her, I mean, she's not young, but it makes her suddenly look younger, weirdly, when she does it. She says, what are you saying, Silas? Are you saying, what are you saying?
I'm saying I like you a lot.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I like you too. A lot.
Okay. Just kind of slowly go to take her hand.
Okay, yes, she will let you take her hand. It is not cold and clammy and death-like. It is clear that she is also using the blood to make herself a little bit more human. So you take her hand.
And it's slowly pull her in for a...
Okay. Well, you're going to give her a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's quite awkward, and it's very slow. But she will... Because, Silas is used to people often just sort of throwing themselves at him. And also, you often go to kind of clubs and places where you'll often hit on like super smooth, attractive people who are, often at a club for just that experience. And here is someone who it's almost like she's not quite sure what to do. And she's kind of working it out as she goes. But she will effectively hug you in a heartfelt yet very painfully awkward manner. Are you doing anything else, or are you just going to stand there hugging her for a while?
I think that's as far as Silas and Nell will go at the point.
Okay. So after a while, what will happen is the difference will be, rather than her just kind of holding on to you, that she will lean into you a bit more, and becomes that little bit more kind of relaxed. You're aware that at first, actually, she was probably just very, very tense, just sort of doing the motion of a hug. Whereas now she's actually kind of hugging you in a more kind of, oh, okay, maybe this is not killing me and this is fine kind of way. So you have a sort of very sweet hug moment. For Silas, it's almost weird, because normally in these scenarios, it's very unlike this.
Normally it's that's getting enough.
So are you just going to kind of talk with her a little bit more and then go back? Is that your plan?
That's sort of thing. And
okay. So I just want to check in before the break with Joanne. Are you contacting Velvet regarding the nameless woman in your surgery?
Yeah, I was going to wait till he gets back to the Haven to do that in person.
Sure. And Velvet, are you coming back to the Haven after Sir William's place? Or are you off elsewhere?
I am. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button to unmute myself. I'm going back to the Haven. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So after the break, we will pick up with Joanne and Velvet at the Haven. But we're gonna move kind of into the break and announcement territory. Now, those of you who've been following along will know that we are giving away awesome stickers. What stickers, you say? Good question. These stickers. And designed by the fabulous Cedar. And if you would like to have us send these stickers to you, all you need to do, if you are watching us live, is spam in the chat the best Vampire the Masquerade plan.
This is not going to be controversial.
Obviously, it's the Ventry.
No controversy
Really?
this week. It's all cool. Just tell us the best plan, and then our very complicated, highly developed algorithm works in secret projects. We'll select that correct answer from the correct answers from the name, and then we will announce at the end of the episode who we're going to send it to. So just in case there's any confusion, put in chat the best Vampire the Masquerade clan. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can put the thing into the comments and we might well do a separate draw for you somewhere later on. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, maybe get to our YouTube channel.
Really sorry.
But we love you, podcast listeners. Thank you.
we love you so much.
Other shout outs. I believe that Bex, you have something to say.
I do. This is a shout out to our mysterious benefactor, who you might remember in Series 1 made figures of all the Coterie. Now I have Adam. Sadly, Velvet is not in my house at the moment, so that's a disappointing evening after we log off of this. Yeah. But I also
it's a tough life.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
But I also have Miyuki.
You have Miyuki, and Theodore is here in my house. So
Yes, that's true. I mean, I'm Miyuki and Adam. That's not a thing. So
yeah, that's a good thing.
yeah. Also, Wallace and Seth are on their way to me, so I'm just saying thank you. Shirtless Seth,
Yes, thank you.
the best kind of Seth. So yeah, so I will. So yes, this is just a shout out to say thank you very much.
Thank you very
Brilliant.
much.
you,
Love
Daryl.
Miyuki.
Yes, thank you. And any more?
I think there is an important shout out this week. So, if you have been reading our blog post, you would know that not only Blood on the Severn is the next chronicle we will be playing after Blood on the Tamesis ends, but you will also know that we are auditioning for players. Now, originally we were going for 4 local players, just the way we have done with Blood on the Thames, Blood on the Tamesis. But now, given that pretty much the whole first season, or at least the beginning of it, it's going to happen in COVID times, social distancing and the like, the decision was taken of having a cast that was sort of, instead of being 4 local spots, being 3 plus half plus half. Let me explain. 3 local permanent spots, 1 non-local, anywhere in the world spot that can be filled by anyone that wants to play. So if you want to audition, you're welcome. And it can be it's going to be done remotely. And then a 4th, sort of a second half. So if we have to go back from lockdown into, filming everybody here together, we can have a transition between 2 characters. It also allows for a little bit more expansion. We're going to be going through the stories of 5 different characters instead of 4. And of course, 2 of them are not going to join us for the totality of Blood on the Severn, but for a good part of it. So that's always something to look forward to. So if you are interested in becoming a member of the Blood on the Severn auditions, list, and potentially be one of our players, no matter where you are. Of course, there's a pre-screening process. I mean, I have to make sure that people are available the times we're going to stream, and then and other things. But we're going to be opening auditions now. So make sure to send an email to bloodontheThames@gmail.com. That is bloodontheThames, one word. No underscores, no spaces, no dots. bloodontheThames@gmail.com with the subject Blood on the Severn auditions, and let us know, and we will be contacting you through there.
Brill.
Back to you, Pete.
So we are going to take a short break now. It is currently, if you're watching us live, 25 to 9. So we're going to be back at 8:45 for the second half of this episode. So do join us then. In the meantime, have a nice cup of tea or whatever it is you do in the break. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. And that's why Cappadocia is best.
And welcome back to Season 3, Episode 7 of Blood on the Tamesis. So we are going to pick things up straight away. Velvet is returning to the Haven first, whereupon he will find Joanne is waiting for him.
Okay. Well, I'll come in. I'll say, is everything all right? Did anything happen to her?
She's recovered enough. If you wanted to do whatever setup you wanted, she'd be fine for it.
What do you mean? I mean, I haven't so far this evening looked at what to cover up. What do you mean she's fine for it?
She's recovering incredibly well. She'll be fine, and could very easily, if you wanted to take her to another hospital, recover.
Oh,
swiftly.
Thank God. Yes, let's do that. Does she need anything? Like, could I take her in my car?
I assume so.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be hooked up to anything, or
no.
Do you need to come? Do you need to monitor her or something?
No. She's doing far better than I anticipated.
Well, that's credit to you. That does leave the small problem of like I'm not the sort of person that can just roll up to a hospital. with an unconscious girl in the back of my car and not have questions asked, charming as I am. You, though, are a doctor. And I know that I already asked you for help last night, but will you help me with this? Because if you were with me, then it's not a question, right? You have the white coat and the name badge and all of that. So...
The risk there would be people recognizing me.
Well, can we just go to a hospital that isn't yours?
It's... You know how in businesses, you all tend to know each other? When you're as specialized as I was, my name got around.
But we're not going in, right? We're just gonna... We can just, like, leave her outside or something, right? Or leave her somewhere and call an ambulance or something.
She wouldn't be in no negative health effects to do so, so you could.
Right, well, I will think about... I will do that, but I need to think about where to leave her, because I don't want to be caught on camera somewhere getting her out of the car. Alright, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have said that first. I really appreciate it. How's your evening been otherwise?
Uneventful, which is the best we can hope for these days.
Yeah. Oh, I just came from Sir William, and it seems the matter with Sir Francis has been dealt with. He's made it clear to her that this is not something she can be doing. So he was, you know how old vampires are. He was like, oh, it's fine. They don't need to be in hiding. And then he sort of said, oh, they probably shouldn't pass her in the street. So maybe stay indoors, which is sort of like being in hiding. But I wanted to let you know, you're not in danger unless you cross.
Unless I put myself into it.
Well, you're not stupid, right? You're not going to do that.
No.
But I mean, I'm figuring you must have other things, right, that you want to do with your time rather than sit around in here. And I have to go back to the flat and get Barnaby or talk to him sometime. I mean, I don't know if you guys speak, but it seems...
Have you tried talking to him?
I mean, I have tried talking to him, yeah. I mean, he's sort of... I mean, you're right, it's difficult. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. But he's, I don't know. He sounds like he's had a really shit time of things since he's been here. I mean, much like you. But I don't know. I sort of guess you guys feel like you had more in common. The person who was in the fridge? That's a relative of his? That's a relative of his. He said it was his mother. I don't know if he meant his actual mother. Assumedly not, because... what the hell would she be doing in the fridge? But that means there's at least one more of you. And she was from outside the city. He said she was put in there because there was some problem with her trying to sneak in. And anyway, Sir Holda said she could be released. But I know you spent time helping other people in the city, and she's got to be one of yours, right? He was talking about whether or not she wanted to stay here, or I don't know what she was running from. But I was planning on going back seeing if I could talk to her. I don't know if you want to come with me.
From what's been going on, from what you said there, well, Sir Francis still on the large, and I don't think there's going to be preventative measures taken. I think there's going to be retributive I can't talk today. Retributive measures taken. So it's going to take one of us to be killed before anything's done.
Well, it's not going to happen here, for sure. I mean, if he's talked to her and it's a straightforward thing, then, or he's told her that she's not doing it, I don't see why she would go against that, unless she had some sort of rage or the like. But, I mean, you're not surely going to plan on staying in here all the rest of your life, right? I mean...
Not the rest of my life. You want out? I want out as well.
Out where? You want to leave Oxfordshire?
Been thinking about it, yes.
Where are you going to go? I got at least one person out in the last 3 days.
Who knows?
What about August?
She's going to be safe. I know that.
All right. Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Will do.
I'll go and consider what the best non-camera voyeur spots for dropping off a not dead corpse are.
Okay. Is that just that Velvet is going to sit with a glass of whiskey and contemplate possible spots, or is Velvet doing something else active I should be aware of?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. I mean, he'll do a bit of... I mean, he will try and find out whatever he can about... I guess it's a research thing, right? So he needs to go and check on Brick and Soap anyway.
Yes.
And they might have some idea as to where there is no camera coverage in the city. So
Yes, indeed, they probably do. All right,
Yep.
cool. I will come back to that scene a bit later.
Sure.
So, Joanne, you've obviously had this chat with Velvet. You're, one assumes, chilling in the surgery. Your phone will ring.
Yeah, I'll
You will recognise the number. It is Bridget McAllister.
I'll answer.
Joanne, is that you?
It is.
Are you local?
I can be.
I'd like to talk to you,
Of course.
but not on the phone. Tonight, if I can.
I'll do my best. Where should I meet you?
There's a pub. I'll send you the details.
She'll hear like an active sound, but
Okay. You express your displeasure. So you will get a text with an address for a pub called the Three Kings,
yeah, I'll
which is in town.
blush of life up and go. Let me just make that rouse check.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm good.
So you blush for life up and you go. It's not the nicest pub in the world, but neither is it the worst pub in the world. It's also one of those pubs that's kind of tucked away, like the kind of place where local people know about it, but it's not on the main throughways. It's quite a cozy place. It is quite full, but it's not like packed. You can move through it easily enough, but it's obviously doing all right. And it seems full of locals. It seems quite a calm place. Most of the people drinking here are older, by the way. And yeah, there's lots of kind of muttered conversations of people who are clearly not over the moon about life going on in the background.
That's just pubs in general, isn't it?
I mean, maybe.
That's a fair assessment.
And this is one of those pubs that is sort of like an avatar of pubs insofar as it feels kind of like old and worn in, but kind of like it's been like this way for a long time. And you will see Bridget is sitting in a corner that she seems to have commandeered at a table. She has got a couple of pints at the table already. And is pretty much as the last time you saw her. She's casually dressed, wearing mainly blacks with like a red jacket, and she has obviously a lot of her hair is greying these days, but she's dyed it all red pretty much, all the streaks. Now that used to be kind of like there was one or two cool streaks, whereas now there are a few more streaks, but she doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
She's running with it. However, you know her pretty well, and it will be evident to Joanne that while she is trying to appear casual, she's actually very tense indeed.
Yeah, well, I'll go and sit down.
So you sit down. She will slide the pint over to you and says, thought I'd get you one in.
I'll make a vain effort to sip from it.
Okay. So you do that kind of pretense sip thing. She watches you while you drink. She looks very sad.
Yeah.
She says, "You okay?"
To an extent, but that's for me. What about you?
She says, "Well, I'm often involved in things I probably shouldn't be." She sips at her beer. She says, "Do you think you were followed here?"
I don't think so.
I know you have people that watch over you sometimes. And she does kind of look around, particularly in the kind of over to the more shadowy area of the pub.
Yeah, I'll also do so.
Yeah, I mean, it looks normal. There are no sinister creatures, beings, people. No Theodores. It's all fine.
Shadows are friendly.
No.
Shadows are friendly if you just feed them twice a day and are nice to them. So yeah, she says, "I know you like people to be direct, so I'll try and be direct. It's quite hard for me to say. Like I say, you know that I get involved in things I probably shouldn't, and you know that I've always had a sense of justice. Well, of course you do. You're like that too. And there's other people like us too. And, well, not too long ago, some of them made contact with me." She sips her drink again. And, well, I mentioned your name, funnily enough, as someone that might see eye to eye with them. Turns out some of them knew your name already. She looks at you, like, in a slightly odd way. Reminds you actually a little bit of when you're looking at a patient and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with them. Looks like she's looking at you in a slightly more analytical way rather than just looking at you like a person. Like, her attention's not straight on your eyes. Maybe she's looking at your cheeks, or maybe she's looking at your neck. I still find it hard to believe, to be honest with you. I'll come right out with it, Joanne. They know what you are. There'd been a hope maybe you'd be... Well, that doesn't matter. They know what you are, and I want you brought down. I told them I'd handle it.
Just kind of take a vain sip at the beer.
Okay. She watches you in a less guarded way now when you do this. Like she's just kind of watching you do it out of curiosity. She looks, again, very sad. She says, I don't. We've got history. I mean, they tell me it doesn't matter. That's not what I believe. Am I wrong?
No. In a way. Well, now, if they're after me, that history, it doesn't matter to an extent, does it? You need to keep yourself safe.
Joanne, I told them that I'd do it. But I thought, given everything, I'll give you a fair warning. Give you time to, she shrugs, do whatever you've got to do. Maybe disappear. I can't find you, I can't do anything, can I?
Somewhat ironically, I was considering that anyway.
Well,
there's only one thing I'd ask you in that case then. Just...
What's that?
Make sure I was remembered for who I was, not who I am now.
That's how I remember you, Joanne. As a
That's
doctor.
enough then.
That's who I'm having a drink with. You know, that other person, I'll come for them tomorrow.
Well then, let's enjoy this for the last night.
She'll raise her glass.
Yeah.
Drink. Is there anything you want to say to her whilst you're having this time, or are you just going to have a quiet pint in her company?
Just a quiet pint, and with the... Just let that remember me for who I was line hang. Maybe say it at the end as I go.
Yeah. She looks very sad, almost like she's kind of in grief. But she will kind of say goodbye to you. She will wish you well, although she will look awkward saying it.
And as she's like kind of leaving with her back turned or whatever, I'll just say, you know, I still don't think any less of you, right? If this is what you need to be safe, you come first. And if this is what it takes, then that's fine.
You see her shoulders slump a little bit, and she will say quietly, she says, you know what they're like, Joanne. You know what they're like. They're not like you. You know what they do. I can't turn my back on it. You know I can't.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm not going to fight if you find me.
See her nod. And she doesn't turn around again.
Yeah.
And then she'll leave. So, what are you doing?
Head back to the Haven and start making preparations to leave.
Okay.
And not telling anyone else.
All right. So you go back to the Haven.
Yeah.
You don't speak to anyone else. You start packing a bag.
Yeah.
Apart from kind of packing and preparation and that side of things, is there anything or anyone you're intending to contact or speak to or move or do or anything like that?
I'll call Amanda at some point.
Okay.
Assuming there's no one in earshot.
Yeah, it's easy for you to find a place in the Haven that is quiet. Most of the Coterie are out doing their own shenanigans.
Yep.
And it's also a huge place. So you phone Amanda. And she will pick up quite quickly. Oh, hello, darling.
Things are getting interesting here.
Oh,
As you may have guessed. Well, it turns out there's people after me now, and not just people from this city, apparently. So those rewards, I have names.
well, of course, I'm listening, darling.
So the Kine, I'd want protected and, to an extent, kept out of this world as much as possible. Let her live her own life, die of old age, and I know this is too much to ask, but not even get fed upon by someone of us. August Christie.
She writes the name down.
And the kindred is Druti Patel.
She says, the
Yes.
messenger. Well, I will let the prince know, darling. But I don't see any problem with either of those two being protected.
Thank you. So, depending on how things go, I might be coming to all of you early, or I might not even be here when you all arrive.
Do you need help, darling? You know that we're your friends here. And if you need a place to come, or you need something taken care of, well, you still have credit with me.
Tomorrow night, I'll let you know.
I'll be sure to keep an ear out. I do like a good intrigue.
Stay safe.
And you. And she'll hang up.
I don't think she's got anyone else she wants to.
So you're not
speak to or
contacting
do.
anyone else doing... Okay, cool.
No.
So Silas, you have spoken to Mr. Whispers. Where are you going after that?
And after that, priority is basically back to the garage. Chuck one of his favorite musicals on, like a Rocky Horror, and get to work on the car.
Okay. So there is lots of clanking and also singing in the garage as you get to work.
Do I hear this?
Probably the music is loud.
Yes, I'm going to say yes because it's very loud.
It's correct.
And it's not a soundproof.
Well, then I go to the garage.
Okay, so Velvet, you are en route to the garage. Theodore, where are you going after having seen Miyuki?
I think I would go back to the Haven and go to my room, but keep every single light out and try to look into the shadows and reach out to see if I can feel Meliore.
Interesting. So, I'm going to come to Velvet and Silas in a moment. So Theodore, you are in your room and put out the lights. So it's just you and the darkness. Now, you have learned over your time of study that there is dark and there is dark.
Yeah.
and there is the kind of darkness that exists within you that is shall we say, a real or more superior form of darkness to just the absence of light. And you are aware of that darkness within you, and you're aware also that it connects to a deeper, greater darkness. You also know that in the past, that Meliore and yourself have been able to kind of interact through that darkness. Indeed, it was your shadow that was turned against Amargo by Meliore, you recall, in the factory. So this is not an alien thing for him to try. But it's not something he's really done before. So I think this is going to require a roll. I think it's going to be Resolve and Oblivion.
Okay.
It is going to... You can add your blood potency bonus dice for this.
Okay.
And you can also add 1 extra dice for your lore sheet connection with Meliore.
Okay. Okay. So Resolve plus Oblivion.
Yes.
Plus my bonus die from blood potency.
Yeah.
And okay. Rolling. Let's see.
I thought for a minute you were saying 10 successes again, and I was going to be like, what?
That is 5 successes.
Okay.
5 successes. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah. It's good. No, 5 successes is respectable. I mean, it's not 10 successes critical win, but it is.
Yeah. It's not Joanne healing people. It's only
it's not Joanne healing people, but it's still good.
Theodore
Right,
getting, communing with the shadows.
So this is a thing that you're not just communing with the shadows per se. You are trying to commune specifically with Meliore's shadow. And there is a strange thing that happens after a while, which is you become aware of your own shadow. And your own shadow having this quality that is unlike others. And you're kind of looking into it, and you are kind of reaching into it in a sense. And there is this slightly disorientating feeling of there's kind of regular 3-dimensional space, but actually that there's a sense of your shadow touching somewhere else. And that place works very differently, is very different. And that on some level, Meliore's shadow also touches this place. And that whilst you're not near Meliore, via that kind of conduit, for a moment you get a sense of her. And for a moment, your shadow, which is you can't really make it out very well, obviously, because it's dark. But you are aware of it, and you're aware of the feel of it being different, if not the sight of it. Seems to lean like it's trying to move in a direction of its own accord. You're aware, of course, you can project your shadow and move it if you wish to in different directions. But this time, it's like it's being magnetized to something, like it's being pulled in a direction. And it's not a grand movement, it's subtle, but after a while you detect it. And you see also, because whilst the lights are out, as it starts to creep towards the window, you will start to make it out better near the edge of the window. It's almost like the arms of your shadow are no longer copying your arms. It's like they are stretching and reaching. See, look, I can do this even on a dial-in.
Yeah, hand.
Anyway, I digress. Yeah, they are reaching in a direction as if they're stretching out for someone or something. And you have that fleeting sense from in the past when Meliore has demonstrated her power to you, that it has it's very hard to detect, but a very slightly different feel. And that you feel that she is out there. Moreover, you feel like she is, you could almost imagine that you were on two sides of a window trying to press on it, reaching out to each other. You have a sense somehow of her reaching out to you. What are you doing?
in the darkness, I take out the phone and send a text message to Isabel.
Okay.
I can feel her presence. I think I can guide us there.
She will text back. I'm on my way.
Excellent. I start preparing my stuff. I clean my blades, sharpen them, waiting for her.
Okay. In about as quick a time as it is possible to be there, Isabel is there in a car. You will note another car is behind her, and it seems to be full of people who look, to Theodore's eye, like professional security people.
Okay. I jump into the car where she is.
Yeah.
Is she driving? Does she want me to drive?
She will have a driver.
Okay, so I jump in the back seat with her and my things. Just a normal bag in which I have probably my gun, a silencer, a couple of clips, and my sword.
Okay.
And and I go in. I give her a look, and Theodore just closes his eyes, reconnects with his shadow, probably dimming the light inside the car, using shadow cloak to deepen the shadows he's already in.
Sure.
And I'm going for it, for whatever the direction, just trying to guide the driver.
So it's not like having like a sat nav or a compass or anything like that.
Yeah, it's
less reliable and it's more difficult. However, you will start to do that, and the cars will pull off into the night, and I'll come back to you later. Velvet, there is a horrible racket, but also Silas is singing.
I mean, I felt, does Silas sing well?
Oh, Silas sings very well.
Oh, that's less.
Otherwise, I would have done the whole "there is a horrible racket" and Silas is also repairing the car joke. But I couldn't do that because of his ability to sing, unfortunately. So
he's actually quite confident.
Your way to he's quite good. Can't take it away from him. He is singing along to was it Rocky Horror?
Yep.
Yeah. So Velvet will probably recognise the music.
Yep.
As you approach the garage. Sadly for Velvet, it only gets louder as you get closer.
I mean, I'm not going to knock. There's no point, right? I'll just walk in.
No, it will be irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
So you enter Silas's domain, as it were.
Okay. I'll
and you will be able to locate him easily enough.
Okay, I'll be calling his name. Okay, I'll be calling Silas. I'll get to the wherever he is underneath the car.
Yep. See his lugs out, you know.
Then I'll get him by the leg and pull him out from underneath the car.
There's a crash and son of a bitch!
Okay, Silas, this is not a full-on check, but can you just make me a willpower check as if you were making a Fury Frenzy? This is not a Fury Frenzy test. It is just a test using that roll.
Okay.
You are grabbed by the leg and you are yanked out from under the car, and you bang your head as you come out. So I just want to see how Silas takes that.
If it really looks like a Fury Frenzy, it's because it totally isn't, you Bruya.
I'm not saying it's a Fury Frenzy. It's not a Fury Frenzy. It's just a roll. Just want to see.
I have 3 successes.
Fine. So the thing that strikes Silas is there is a moment where you're grabbed by the leg and you're pulled out and you bang your head, and for like a fraction of a second, a white hot rage passes over you because you were singing in your happy place doing this thing, and someone dared to put a hand on you and manhandle you, and you've banged your head. Just for a moment, you feel it. You feel your body alive with the desire to rip apart the person that dared to do this to you. But you don't succumb to it. You control it. It's fine. And you immediately recognize Velvet, and suddenly it doesn't feel anything like that. It doesn't feel bad anymore. But there is that. But you are aware that maybe had it not been Velvet, maybe had you been in a worse mood, it might be different.
Yeah.
There was just a primal part of you that really does not like being grabbed by someone and manhandled. Velvet, for your part, you're very good at reading people. You see he bangs his head, and you see a flicker of that like real rage.
Yeah.
But then he composes himself.
Just hold the head, flapping promo, turn it off.
Sorry. You couldn't hear me, and I was calling your name. So I
Ow.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Am I bleeding? Is that
No,
fine?
you're not bleeding. Why would you be bleeding? You're dead.
Good point. Sorry. Sorry, force a habit. Force a habit.
Well, I'm sorry. I can leave you to it, but you got back, and I wanted to know what happened.
Is the whole little bounce? She likes me. She says, "Thank you, and thank you so much for like that." Thanks.
Well, don't thank me because you're the one who spoke to her, right?
That is like.
Man, that is a.
How the hell you got that so quickly? I mean, that's a superpower in itself.
Well, it's not really a superpower. It's just I have a lot of money. So I mean, but that is. I didn't come here to talk about the bike. But that is great news. So when are you seeing her again?
We haven't arranged a next time to meet, but we're regularly in contact anyway. So meet up again very.
But remember what I said. You cannot be in contact with her about work, right? You can't talk to her about work. Otherwise, she's going to be thinking that is all you care about, that you're into her for that reason, which is not the case. Am I right? Right. So forget about work. God knows I have. It's not exactly like anyone keeping tabs on us at the moment, right? There are a whole lot of things going on. So when you speak to her, or when you go out with her, just be your normal self and forget about, whatever work she does for you or with you or whatever. Because you have to let her understand that she's special to you, right? And she is not getting that message if you're asking her to report back on whatever work it is that you do with her, right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad I came to you for advice.
Well, you know what, man, you got it. It's I'm pleased for you.
Yeah.
Do you need to keep the bike?
I mean, my last bike's left in Reading, and whoever was chasing us probably has that impounded by now. So.
Oh right, okay. I mean, as you can probably intuit, I don't know nothing about bikes. So if it needs to be replaced with one that's more suited to your tastes, with more notice, that can happen.
This is incredible. Thank you. All
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing, right?
Yeah. It's everything going okay with you?
I'm astonished to say not terribly, no. Which is pretty good in the scheme of things. I do have something I have to do tonight that you might be able to give me a hand with. I have to take someone to the hospital, but via a means that that I can't be seen, just so I can leave them there, so they can get proper treatment. And it's not my strong suit, shall we say, moving around that way. So I'm trying to get hold of Brick or Soap, someone who can tell me whereabouts to leave this person, that we're not going to be caught on camera. But I might need a hand from you if that'd be all right.
Yeah. That's perfectly fine. And on the contrary about helping each other out, and you know more about the political arena with the current situation. That of course, as the game after the games, I gained some
Right.
stats about that. I'm thinking I want to leverage that position behind Theo, but I could use some advice on how best to do that as well.
What, you are the winner of the games to support his position?
Basically,
Sure, we can do that. I probably need a little bit of time to think about it, and I need to speak to Theodore. I don't know where he's at right now, but that is a pretty good strategy, and it'll help, right?
yeah.
And your sire was a previous winner. You think you can get him to back that position?
I'm sure I can. He's currently looking for, trying to find a grandsire. Well, my grandsire at the moment, his sire.
Oh, right. Okay.
She's the only one who has, well, one of the two that has not returned from Reading.
That does not sound good.
But then again, with what we were facing, I'm honestly surprised as many of us got out as we did.
Right, but I mean, she still has to be found, right?
Yes.
You let me know if you need help with that. I don't know how I can help you. I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give you a hand. All right. Well, we can talk to Theo maybe some other time about this. But let's get this poor woman later out of Hagen.
Yep. Again.
But hey, man, that is not the focus of this evening.
Nope.
You knocked it out of the park, right?
I hope I did. I think I did.
You gotta ask her again and see if she says yes. That's gonna tell you if you did.
I will do.
All right. Well,
Tomorrow?
I'm sorry.
Is tomorrow too soon? Should I leave it at night?
No, it's never too soon. That is bullshit. I'm telling you, it's never too soon. So, there you are. You gotta just message her down. In fact, why are you here? Why aren't you there? Since you have the bike and she likes you, you have all the opportunity at your fingertips.
I do, but I just don't want to smother her with me because there's a.
It is fair to say that I am not
much.
an expert on what women like, but I would say, in point of fact, that that a text is not going to hurt you at all. You can just tell her, it was nice talking to you. Would you like to do it again sometime? That sort of thing. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave you to the Rocky Horror Show in the car. But I'll let you know it.
Did you ever manage to see it on stage? Because that was.
Do I look like the kind of guy who goes to a stage show in gold pants? Is not. I have not seen it.
The amount of people who go there in fishnets.
I would not be surprised about that at all, but I would say that I'm not one of them. It's I've heard it, but it's not my cup of tea. Is that what you say here? Yeah, not my cup of tea.
Yep, that would be.
But it sounds good, right?
It was brilliant.
Well, you know what? Maybe if this all pans out, we can go see a performance of it sometime.
I won't make it dress up.
That's good. You won't make me dress up. You're right. Yeah.
I won't dress up either. Don't worry. I won't put you through that.
I mean, you should do whatever you're gonna do, man. But I'm not certain. Wait, no, I don't think it's Adam's thing either. I was gonna suggest a double date, but he might kill me, and I don't want that. So, but otherwise, take it easy, man.
You too.
I'll see you later.
I'll turn the music down.
All right. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Now I will leave.
Okay.
We'll go back to whatever I was doing, looking at
So,
Brick and Soap.
Are you just checking with Brick and Soap in a like, hey, where's a good place to dump a body kind of way, or are you wanting to actually have a scene?
Yeah,
with
I
them?
want to actually talk to them. But in my head, and I might have made this up because wouldn't be the first time. They're still at the Haven. Weren't they put up there? Yeah. Okay.
They
So
are
they're
currently at the Haven. They've been there for like a night.
okay. So they're around.
They are currently around. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then, yes,
They're easy to find. In fact, they look like they're actually preparing to leave around the time that you approach them.
Okay. So yes, I want to. Sorry.
So Soap has kind of made a rough attempt to cover the wound on the end of her leg. And Brick has removed the fence post from his head.
Excellent work.
Although obviously his head, at the best of times, looks like it's got a dent in it.
Yeah.
But it now at least doesn't have a large post sticking out of it.
Okay.
And yeah, they just look like they're kind of gathering themselves and making themselves look vaguely presentable.
Okay.
When you approach them, immediately, Velvet, you feel a little bit wary.
Okay.
And it's because you've had quite a lot of experience being around other vampires, and what strikes you is that Brick is very hungry, and so is Soap. And they look like they're in control of that hunger, but you can just feel that kind of slightly more predatory edge to them than usual when you approach them. Because Soap is one of the least scary vampires that you know.
Yeah.
But even she, there is something about her that puts you slightly ill at ease when she's in this frame. Just so you're aware.
Okay. Okay. So, where presumably they're like, are they somewhere like in the main living area or somewhere?
Yeah, they're in like one of the main living rooms.
Yeah.
They seem to be basically making themselves look vaguely presentable from a distance. They would not pass scrutiny close up at all.
Okay.
So they're kind of checking each other over as you come in.
Okay. I'll say, hey.
Soap raises a hand, and Brooke says, "All right."
How are you guys doing?
They give each other a look, and then look back at you, and then just sort of shrug.
I'm sorry that I didn't come talk to you yesterday. There's been an awful lot going on, and probably it's useful for me to update you about some things. But before I do that, I want to know if you need anything. I mean, it looks like you're getting ready to leave. Can I drive you somewhere, or?
Yeah, Brick will nod at that. Soap says,
Have you eaten since you've been here?
No, we need to eat.
All right.
She says.
Do you need?
Brick says, we need to eat a fuck ton.
All right. Well, do you need me to help out with that?
Be appreciated.
All right. Well, it seems to me like should get that done, and then maybe we can talk a little bit more. I've got a lot to update you on. Things happening in the city. Things that have happened with Wallace. Seems that it'd be useful for you to be in the loop.
Yeah, I'd like to know what happened to him. Soap says me too.
Well, I maybe you want to eat first, and then I can tell you.
Yeah, they'll agree to that, and assuming you're gonna. Yeah. So he'll pick Soap up because she can't walk. Okay. And they will go to your car.
Yep.
And assumedly, you're going to take them somewhere where they can go hunt.
Yes. And then I'll carry on talking to them. That feels like the first order of business is don't give them bad news when they're hungry. Yeah.
So just to give you a quick summary of what happens.
Yep.
Brick will pick up Soap. He'll give you directions to a place, which is a much rougher end of Oxford.
Okay.
He'll get out of the car. He will pick up Soap and start walking away from the car. And at some point, as he's walking away from the car, he'll tell you he'll be back. You'll lose sight.
Okay. I will wait by the car. I will remove whatever I'm wearing that makes me look conspicuous.
So a little time will pass, but when they come back, they will both look much more comfortable. And they are not like rushing back with the air of people who've just, set off 1,000 alarms or anything like that. They look quite like everything went smoothly. That's the vibe they give you.
Yeah, okay.
When they get into the car.
Okay, I'll say, where do you want to go to talk?
I should say as well, when Brick gets into your car, he has to like tilt his head because his hair is too high to handle the because he's Mohican to handle the roof of your car. The Soap has no such worries, of course. She says, "Can we just talk in the car?"
Sure.
Well, it's just it's a bit hard for me to be out at the moment.
Well, no, I was just more wondering if you had somewhere else you wanted to be, but sure. I'll drive somewhere else that's kind of quiet, where we're not likely to be interrupted or seen.
Okay.
And then I'll say, well, as for updates on the subject of Wallace, he is still at Sir Ranulph's place. Sir Ranulph has taken considerable exception to his presence there, and is holding him there for the foreseeable future. He said that he wanted to get all of the information he could out of him. He said that Wallace had betrayed him. I should say that you're here because Theodore made the case and the argument that you were the reason I knew to come there and find Wallace, and that you let me know that there was a betrayal that he was perpetrating against Ranulph. So that is why.
So, oh, sorry, yeah.
I'll just say, so that is why that is why he chose to keep hold of Sir Wallace and not the rest of us.
Soap says, well, Theodore's always been good to me.
He's a good guy.
Rick says,
does mean, of course, he's not dead.
He might wish he was. I heard a little bit of what Enolf was doing. Let me tell you, he wasn't asking any questions.
Right. Well, I can't say that causes me too many sleepless nights.
Seemed to me like a man who already thought he had the answers. Soap says we were going to be next.
I know, and I'm sorry that I couldn't get you out of there on the night.
She says, no, it's okay. It's okay because he didn't get to us. He didn't get to us. He was too busy with Wallace.
I would have gone back there, but I just couldn't. I couldn't face it. But Theodore, he knows Sir Ranulph, and I asked him the next night to come see what happened to you.
Listen, I understand. I know what it's like when he talks to you. Gets in your head.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Wallace was bad, right? He does that. He did that. He does that a lot to me, but this was like nothing. It was like I could feel something crawling through my mind.
I thought they had to. Well, I thought your clan had to at least be close to us to do that kind of thing.
I can't say that I've ever been particularly good at that. I don't. But Wallace, he told me, that I have to be looking at someone or near them. But I was nowhere near Enolf when he did that. And I mean, I didn't even know. It wasn't even. It was like all of a sudden I was talking to him and then I was just leaving. I didn't have any thoughts about it at all.
It was the same for me. I thought I was out. I thought I was gone in the wind. And then I heard his voice, and then that was it.
Well, Barnaby, he made it out. Adam left with me.
But he did.
Well, I managed to talk my way out of it with an oath. So that was one thing at least. And there's other things that have been going on since then. Sir Francis had was hunting the Toreador, trying to kill them all. Sir William, he said today that he's spoken to her and that she's not going to do that. But I don't. You know
it's
what?
Not right the way they treat us, you know.
No, I know.
And
I know.
I
thought this because of Helena coming here. And Theodore, lots of people have been talking about who's going to be in charge here. And, I want it to be someone that's going to leave me the hell alone. And I don't think any of them fit that category. They're not going to just let us be, right? It's not how they are.
Well, it depends.
And I don't want to turn into that.
Depends who it is. There's not everyone's like Anolf.
Depends on what.
Wallace. Not everyone shakes his head. No. It's not all about being older, Sometimes it's about other things. You understand, don't you? That's why you got us all together. Because it wasn't right. It wasn't fair the way he was treating us.
Right.
Well,
that is why I got it. That is
way.
What, more than just a group of us?
Lots of people think it's not fair the way some kindred treat us just because they're older or stronger.
Well, they're right. It's not a meritocracy, is it? It never has been. Well, what do we do about it, right? I mean, they have all the power, they have all the resources. You saw what happened with Enolf. There's not a physical stand to be had against them.
I don't know what we do about Enolf, but there are other people who might be happy to do something about him.
Like who?
I'm just saying, one thing at a time, Velvet. I'm just saying, if you're of a mind to make this a better place, and you're willing to stand up, then you don't have to stand up alone. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that I have to stay here, at least for the foreseeable future. And I don't want to stay somewhere that treats me or you or any of us this way. So as far as being prepared to stand up, I'm absolutely prepared to do that.
He'll hold that hand to you.
I'll take his hand.
Just glad to hear it. We'll carry on this conversation another time, I promise you.
All right. Do you all have somewhere that you want me to drop you? Oh, no.
I do.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Before I forget, I had the same problem as you yesterday. I wasn't as successful as you were in eating. So there was a woman back where we just left, and I need to get her to the hospital. She's in a reasonable enough condition I can leave her outside someplace. And I was wondering if either he knew some way I could get her there without being recorded on a camera somewhere, or
Rick
something like
smiles
that.
at you and says, "You're lucky you've got me for a friend. I'll do it for you. Not a problem."
Thank you. You're right, I am lucky I've got you as a friend.
Because we got to look after each other, Velvet. You know, particularly in
We do
what's
that.
coming.
You know what? This is the first conversation that I've had since getting here. It's given me any kind of hope for changing things.
He says, "Well, then the future's looking a bit brighter, eh?" And
It really is.
so essentially, he will go with you
Yep.
to get her body, and then he will vanish into
Yep.
the night with her and deposit her, and
Okay.
that will all resolve. But I want to jump
Fine.
back to Joanne. So the night wears on. You'll be aware that Silas is in the garage, being musical. You'll be aware that Velvet is out most of the evening, and you'll be aware that Theodore has also left at some point quite abruptly. So you're left very much to your own devices.
Yeah.
The night will wear on. What do you intend to do? And where, if anywhere, do you intend to go?
As I'm packing, I'm going to leave a note for each person, and I'll send you what each one says
Sure.
in a minute. But aside from that, I don't really have anything. Aside from like getting ready to go, I don't have anything I want to do particularly that night. Just wait to see if I need Amanda's help or if I'm found first tomorrow night.
Okay. So I'm gonna pick up some stuff with Theodore in a bit, but I want to kind of resolve this angle first. So suffice to say, if you're just going to wait in the Haven for the night,
yeah,
the next night will arrive, or the next evening will come, and you wake up. No one has kind of leapt upon you. You are aware, of course, when you sleep in your Haven, it is a place that has like security guards and top-notch stuff. I mean, it's really hard for anyone to get you in your Haven. It's about the safest place you can be. So you will wake up no trouble. You're all packed up. What does Joanne do?
So the first thing she'll do, because this is her night to get ready to leave, take
You
her
think,
phone?
by the way, your interpretation of what Bridget said was that last night was the last night before anyone was going to come for you.
Yep.
So you are getting ready to leave. Over to you.
She'll take her phone, the one that only the Thin Bloods have,
Okay.
and just text them saying, "My time in this city's up. Please stay safe."
Okay.
And I'll take that phone, drop it on the floor and smash it.
Yeah. Yeah, it cracks under your heel. No problems.
Yeah. And I'm going to roll dice a second.
Sure.
So she's not going to do what she was thinking about doing,
Okay.
which is interesting.
So what is she going to do?
So instead, she's going to go out to the park where
Okay.
she met Noah first.
Yeah.
Sit there for about 3 or 4 hours, just think, reflect on the last 10 years she's had in
Sure.
this city, what she's done. And then assuming if no one's found her in that time.
Is she waiting somewhere reasonably visible?
Yes, she's in the park.
Because this park is, so this park where you met Noah is not within your domain. It is not a protected place per se.
But this is
So
her.
if you wait there for 4 hours,
It's like she's going to stay there for
if you wait
about.
there for 4,
She's going to stay there for
if you wait
about.
there for 4 hours,
Yep.
there will come a point as you're sitting there pondering your time that you will see someone making their way across the park.
Yep.
Towards you. And you will recognize them as Bridget McAllister.
Yeah.
Now, you've seen her coming, so if you wish to leave or whatever, you would have a head start at this point, or are you going to wait for her to arrive? She's not running across the park or charging, she is just walking.
Just look her.
So she will
look in her direction, and just say, "I said I wouldn't fight. Take my phone."
Okay. You break your phone.
Yeah.
And it's because it's very quiet in the park, it makes quite a decisive cracking noise. There's no one else here but the two of you. And she will come and she will sit next to you on the bench. She says, "Doesn't have to be a fight, Joanne. We can just go somewhere, you know, wait for the sunrise. You can go to sleep. Doesn't have to be a fight, doesn't have to be ugly."
It's not going to be.
You're very brave. Don't think I've ever said that to you. I mean, even before, you know, when you put your job on the line, you know, to do what's right. I'll never forget that.
Well, I guess just think of this as my final time doing what's right.
I will. I promise you I will. I'll make sure that's what people remember about you.
Then that's all I can ask. And I slip into voluntary torpor.
So it's not an easy thing to force yourself into torpor.
Yeah.
Because there is a part of your primal part of you that doesn't want to go into torpor, doesn't want to let your defenses down in front of this person. But it is possible for you certainly to let those defenses down.
Yep.
And it's possible for you to get as close to torpor as you can and be as rested as you can. And it is ultimately exactly as Joanne says it will be. It is not ugly and is not a fight. And Bridget stays with you for as long as you are conscious. And when you do fall into torpor, it happens peacefully. What happens after that, of course, Joanne never knows.
I would never know.
So that is where we are going to end episode 7 of Blood on the Tamesis. It's not quite where we're going to finish the session full stop, because there's a couple of things that we ought to talk about. One of which, of course, is stickers. We'll come to stickers in a minute. The other thing is, for those of you that don't know, this is actually Lane's kind of last session in the Chronicle with us. Just because, well, I don't know if you want to say anything, Lane, on this.
I'll say it. So in 3 days now, I'm going off for incredibly major surgery, and I'm going to be in recovery for about 3 months. It obviously got initially off-put because of the pandemic. It was supposed to happen on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
And then we entered lockdown, like, late March. So that kind of put a scalper on it. But the date finally came and rolled around, so...
So yeah, that's what if people are kind of wondering, well, obviously, because there are a few sessions you couldn't make and things like that, and obviously you won't be here for the end of the Chronicle, that is why. So if you are watching us live and you want to send Lane any love in chat, then feel free to do so. But we also wanted to send Lane
there, I don't know.
The chat should be there, unless I'm mistaken, and then it's there. But I think it's there. I think it's that way, Phil. Yes.
Yeah. We'll get there. Yeah, we also wanted to send Lane a bit of love and say, obviously, thank you very much for all of your kind of time with us and taking part in the group and playing a great character. It's very much appreciated. And obviously, we wish you kind of the best for your surgery. But that isn't quite all.
I've obviously auditioned for Blood on the 7. I'm going to be auditioning for Blood on the 7 as well. You cannot get rid of me that easily.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you might be back. Lane will return in.
Indeed.
But for now, at least, we wanted to say thank you for everything. And I want to kind of gesture over in Bex's direction.
Sorry, yes, you cut out slightly there. So we have got you a thing, which I'm going to send you in the post. But it's a cool thing, so you'll have to see it first here. So it's here. Whoa, it's fallen.
This is the problem. You never work with.
This is it. So it's a set.
Vampire.
See, you've got your vampire fangs here, but you've got your cut off fangs here. Yeah.
It's a set of Joanne's personal self-dentistry teeth.
Yes.
Removed.
So this will be coming to you in the post. There is a card already in the post to you, so you will hopefully get it tomorrow.
You guys, I'm going to cry. Oh my god.
No,
we thought we should do this last for this reason. Yeah.
We were not going to do this at the beginning nor at the break. You have been amazing to play with, and all the best for your surgery. And I'm sure you'll be back. We'll have to talk about your audition on Blood on the 7, but also for additional projects, one shots, guest spots, or on other one shots that we can be jumping on. So it's not that you're gone. Joanne is. Lane is pretty much staying with us. Yeah. Sadly, we cannot get rid of her that easy. No, I'm just kidding.
Nope. and yeah, you honestly have been so wonderful to play across. I'm always learning things, and I have learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. And I have said before on other couple of things, I have a list of people I want to run games. I want to, when I up my game skills running, that you are on there, as everyone else on this call. And there's many people I want to run games one time, but you are definitely on the line.
That's the trouble, Phil. The list just keeps getting longer. You should see how long my list of people I want to run games for is.
I will get to you at some point, though. But, thank you so much.
You rock, Lane. That's what we want to say.
Yeah, you're.
And even though Joanne has been gone, Lane, you're part of the group, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Lane will forever live on.
The other thing, obviously, of extreme importance that we need to resolve is who is going to win these fabulous stickers.
Yes, stickers.
And this is where the controversial part comes, because I'm really sure that the algorithm never chose a Cappadocian lover.
There is a clear algorithm and a clear answer.
And it
to the question,
says Ventry.
And it's a second Inquisition.
See, this is why I worry about you all. Clearly, the answer is Malkavian is the best plan as well. You all know.
No, it's clearly Cappadocian / La Sombra.
5, 6. Izzy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is our winner. Izzy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6.
Oh, easy!
Congratulations, Izzy.
She went with Malkavian. Well, I think chat approves
is
of that because there's
rewarded.
plenty of Malkavian on the disaster goals.
Now,
Yeah.
if any of you feel that the algorithm is wrong and there is any kind of mistake, do feel free to send all of your complaints to Mitch, because it's Mitch appreciates and he loves debating stuff with you on the Discord. Do let him know. But I'm sure you'd all agree Malkavian is the best clan, and therefore we're all completely behind that decision.
I'm sure Mitch has got 3 or 4 hours to hear my views about this. I'm on the top.
I mean, the break
He's not
alone.
going to sleep tonight. He's not going to add any sleep tonight.
So yes, that brings episode 7 to a close. But of course, we'll be back in episode 8 to find out whether Theodore can find where Meliore is, and indeed other exciting things. So thank you, my wonderful players, and especially, of course, to Lane.
Thank you.
And thank you to Mitch. Please forgive me for my earlier comments. And thank you, all of you, for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.